Hi everybody, welcome to a new video. A different video than usual, as it's not a tutorial. It's going to be a review of one product versus another one. It's the first one that I do, so hopefully you will enjoy. In this video I'm going to review the use of Chordjam versus the use of ChordBud2. So let's start. I'm inside the AUM, so let's create a MIDI channel and also an audio channel. Let's also add another MIDI location for another processor. So let's load on the first one Chordjam, like so. And let's load on the second one ChordBud. As you can see, they load pretty much on this, within the same time, pretty fast. So let's load now an audio uni extension, like the grand piano, and let's connect both MIDI processor to that instance. So let's start the review. Both application allows you to play chord progression, but in different ways, and they have different options. To start with, they cost very differently. So ChordBud2 is cheaper than Chordjam. As you've seen a moment ago, they load pretty much with similar speed inside AUM, so that's good. So let's deactivate Chordjam and let's go inside ChordBud2. So let's say that I want to create a simple chord progression. As you can see, I have scales here, and let's click on the C major, E minor, F major, and G major. As you can see, I have created 4 chords progression. Each one will last for 1 bar. So let's click play in AUM. And it goes straight into a loop, and each chord lasts 1 bar. And that is the default. So pretty easy, and it's pretty easy also to click if I wanted to create a simple progression using some of the scales that I have already on the screen. It's really easy and straightforward to do that. So let's deactivate now ChordBud2 and enable Chordjam. So let's try to do the same. So let's maximize the window. Let's ensure that we are reset. First thing, if I want to create the same chord progression, is I need to pay attention to the scale. So in this case, I need to click on the scale and select major. So that's the first change, because they are not visible on the screen. Next, I also need to make sure that I select the right chord type. Then I need to activate the sequencer. Next, I need to pay attention to the measure here, because it says 1/16. If I want 1 bar from this step to this other one, I need to actually say use a quarter. Okay, then what I need to do, because it records the last chord played, so I need to press first the C, and as you can hear, is an octave too high, so let's lower it as well. That's okay. Click and hold, we're done the first chord, then the E minor, we do the second chord, then the F major, third chord, and the last one, G major. Okay, then next, if I want it on the loop, then I need to actually decrease the duration. Now let's click play. So as you can see, is in this case, if you want to create a straightforward chord progression, is much easier using ChordBud2. However, let's proceed. So let's say that I want to make this faster. I want to halve the time. Okay, I'm inside ChordBud2, so the only way to do that is to go on the C, split it by 1/8, like so. Repeat the process for all the other chords, like so, for the E minor, now the F major, like so, and finally for the G major, like so. And then what I need to do is I can move sound like these away, move them back like so, like that. Oops, and now I can take that G like that. And then I click and hold the one I don't want to, or I click and delete like so. And then I need to move the endpoint as well, like so. Let's try. So quite a lot of work if I wanted to half the time. Let's disable ChordBud2 and let's go in Chordjam. So here is quite different. Let's go to the rate and let's put it to 1/8 and let's click play. So as you can see, quite much easier using Chordjam. Now let's go back to ChordBud2. So let's say that I want to change that to G, okay? And I want to do, for example, I want to do an inversion. You have the ability to do inversion 1 and inversion 2. Let's click play. Okay, let's go back to Chordjam. Well, actually, you don't have the ability to do inversion. So that's something that Chordjam at the moment will not allow you to do. So let's go back to ChordBud2. Let's remove that inversion. Now, let's stay focused on that G chord. Let's say that I want to change the key from G to C. I click on C, click done. That is changed. So let's try. Okay, let's try to do the same in Chordjam. So let's go back. Okay, here we are. So let's click on the G major chord there to go in edit mode. I can't really change it very easily. I could delete it and then I could re-enter the chord, which probably is the easiest one. Or what I could do is change the key, but this is already in C key and is playing the G major. So a fifth higher. So what I need to do is to change these to an F major and I will go back to a G major. So let's try. And of course, I will have also then to lower the octave again. So an easier way would have been to double click and delete. Okay, then play again the C chord and then re-enter that like so. Okay, now let's undo here and undo again and undo again and undo again. Okay, we are back at the beginning. So let's go back to ChordBud2. So we have undo here as well. So let's click on there and we go back to a G major. So as you can see is pros and cons on both, but in this case to change the key is much more practical inside ChordBud2. The other thing as well, as we split one chord, and you can only split it twice, 1/8 and 1/16. You don't have any more control than that in ChordBud2. But when you go back to Chordjam, you actually have a lot of different more option really for the rate, for the duration of your chord. So that is something really good that you don't have in ChordBud2. Let's go back to ChordBud2. You can delete just clicking and hold and just selecting delete or selecting the button here to delete. In Chordjam, you can just double click on a chord and it will delete that as well. Okay, so now let's say that I want to change that G chord to be a 7. I just click on the 7 like so, and I can pretty much do the same on Chordjam. I just enable that, and then I go here where it says chord type, and I say major 7, and that has changed straight away to major 7. Okay, that is pretty straightforward as well. Next thing, let's have a look at the velocity. You have a velocity here, and you can say, let's decrease the velocity for that entire chord to 43. Let's try. That's very easy for the entire chord. Let's try in Chordjam. Well, this is quite different. You don't have the ability to actually do that for the entire chord yet. So what you have to do for that chord in edit mode, you have to decrease the velocity for each of the voice. Of course, this gives you more granularity, and because you cannot decrease the voice by voices in ChordBud2, but you can in Chordjam. very different features. So in this case, it's easier to do it for the chord inside ChordBud2 than in Chordjam, but Chordjam gives you the ability to actually decrease velocity for each of the voices inside the chord, which you cannot do in ChordBud2. So again, different use cases, so you can achieve more or less the same thing, but with different steps. You can preview a chord here. Select another one. Let's go in Chordjam. Again, this is quite different. Again, you cannot select one chord old and for that to play. You can't, but you can read that is an F major, so you can preview it here. And if you don't know what it is, when you play, you see the chord highlighted over here on the keys, and then you know which key you need to press here. So you can achieve the same thing, but with different steps. Alternatively, you can actually go to the pads, and when you know the chord, which is an F major, so is this one, you click on it and you can assign it to a pad, or if it is already assigned to a pad, you can press on the pad. But again, it's not quite the same. In ChordBud2, you can actually preview it straight away, just clicking on a chord and clicking preview. You have a number of selection here for chord types. I would say that Chordjam 2 has a much wider selection, which is really nice, which comes handy. You have a selection here of scales which are already there, and if you don't find the one which you need, you can go to settings and then enable additional scales here. And it's very easy to create chord progression because you just click on the chords and it keeps adding or appending the chords to the progression that you've already created. So in Chordjam, you have all the scales here. Okay, you don't need to go to the settings, you need to select one. But when you have selected one, then you need to go to the keys to remember what chord will be generated based on the chord type as well. So a little bit more complicated for Chordjam, but actually gives you more possibility in terms of the type of progression that you want to create. Back to ChordBud2, you have also the ability here to create patterns and just clicking on the plus sign, which is great. A little bit limited, but you can create your own patterns. You can do the same. Sorry, not here in Chordjam. You click on preset and you can add easily number of patterns up to 16. But additionally in here, you have the ability to actually save them and give them names, and you can also export them as well and delete them as well. So a little bit more flexibility inside the Chordjam as well. As I mentioned earlier, you have an undo function, you have a clear function like so, which deletes the chord progression. Again, similar in Chordjam, you can go in here and delete the chord progression. But additionally, you have the ability to copy your chord progression above, often the one above to below, and you have two types of chord progression, one the human one and one the robot one. So again, more flexibility inside Chordjam. Additionally, you have things like mapping with a lot more option inside Chordjam, which if you go back to ChordBud2 in the settings, you have some settings in terms of the MIDI channel that you're going to use, but also the MIDI CC that you're going to use as well, which is really, really nice. But I have to say you have more option inside Chordjam. Finally, inside Chordjam, you also have the ability to randomize, which is something you don't have inside ChordBud2, and you can randomize the chord type, the scale type, the chord type as well. But you can also have arpeggio. Arpeggio can be created using, for example, something ArtBud2 in collaboration with ChordBud2, but then again, you need to buy something else and add it and connect it to ChordBud2, which is different. You can also do strumming here, which you can't in ChordBud2. You can create in different grooves here, which is really nice, and save them with different names. And you have the ability as well to randomize it, which you don't have as well in ChordBud2. You have a pad section, which you don't have in ChordBud2. and a lot of other options which are related to randomization for the voices setups, for the velocity, for the strumming, the ARP and the ARP as well, but also randomizing the selection of all the different settings here. Both can be AOV free, both can be synced to, in this case, to the host tempo, which is really nice. So overall, Chordjam has many more functionality than ChordBud2, but I would say if you want to create something really quickly as a chord progression to test something else, I think the ease of use of ChordBud2 is unbeatable. For now, with this version that is available at the moment of this video being recorded. If you are interested just on creating a simple chord progression, probably ChordBud2 is your preferred tool. If you want to do more complicated jamming sessions with perhaps multiple lanes and with also randomization, then Chordjam is your preferred tool. And if you can also afford it, probably Chordjam is the one that you should go for. All right, okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was useful. See you next time. Bye.